Yeah.
And welcome to the Doris James Indie Show. My guest tonight is Sumi Tonooka. Sumi is a composer and a pianist and has recorded many CDs. Her new CD is called Adventures in Time and Space with the Alchemy Sound Project. She's with me tonight. She's my guest. And you sound beautiful. I love it. I love it. And welcome. Thank you for accepting my invitation.
I'm very happy to be here.
Okay. And you know, on the Indie Show, we travel with you through your musical journey. Okay. We start from the beginning and we go right on through the good, the bad, and the ugly, how, when you got started, and we end up at the present.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready for Facebook, family, and friends to travel with you tonight?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let's begin.
Although I have to admit, I have never done a Facebook Live thing, so this is all new to me, and you know.
Well, we're both going to get through this.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so let's start from the very beginning, Sumi. How did you get into this? How did you get into playing piano and all that?
Well, my mom was a big jazz fan.
Okay.
And also, she just loved all kinds of music. So growing up in Philly, because she loved music so much, I got a chance to hear a lot of live jazz, for one thing. So she took me everywhere, and I heard so much great music. And also, not just jazz, but she took us to the Philadelphia Orchestra, so we'd go to the Academy of Music and sit all the way in the peanut gallery, and you know, with the little binoculars and look at the stage. And so I heard a lot of all kinds of music growing up. And Philly's a very rich city, so it has a lot to offer. I heard blues musicians, classical musicians, and one of my favorite concerts my mom took me to was for my 13th birthday. My parents, both my mother and father, took me to hear Thelonious Monk at the Aqua Lounge in West Philadelphia, actually. And they took me to see Monk because I was a big Monk fan at that age. He was one of my favorite pianists.
So they started taking you when you were a child?
Yeah.
2, 3, 4?
Young.
Around that age?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, very young. I was listening to a lot of, I don't know about 2 and 3. I'm not sure if I remember that far back, but definitely when I was a kid, like 6, 7, 8, you know, small.
Okay.
And so that was, you know, kind of the beginnings. My mom played a lot of music in the house in terms of, you know, record players, and her record collection went everywhere from Nina Simone to Bud Powell to the Weavers to classical, you know, symphonic music to
all varieties,
all kinds of
genres
things.
of music. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and so I started young. She didn't really have to force me to play the piano. I would go to the piano, and one of the first things I would do would be to tell stories. I'd make up stories, and I would do sound effects to the stories I was. So I would say, "Oh, it's raining," rain sounds, and "Oh, the thunder came," stuff like that.
Okay.
And so it's kind of interesting because I did later in life actually start composing music for film, and so you get a narrative kind of similar where there's a storyline and you're following something that's helping you create ideas in terms of sound.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, that was good. And then after that, so did you know at the age of 13 that you wanted to be a pianist? Did you know that?
Yes. Actually, it was that night I decided to become a jazz pianist.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a moment, you kind of remembers. It was actually an interesting evening because Monk came out, and at that time he wasn't I don't think he was doing really well mentally. He was having some struggles, and his son was playing drums, and there was a little tension going on, and Monk just sat in front of the piano. He didn't play most of the night, and I was like, oh my goodness. It was the last set, and he hadn't really been playing much. He would, he would sit in front of the piano and maybe, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is he going to play tonight? And then finally he came out the last set, and he played Around Midnight, which is his incredible, of course, classic ballad. And I was like transfixed, and I left there, and I remember saying to my mom and my father, I'm gonna be a jazz pianist.
What did they say? What did they say?
They're like, you go. That's the thing about my parents. They definitely were very, very supportive.
Okay. And so now after you made up your mind, this is what you wanted to do. What came next?
Well, I was pretty I would say that I was pretty focused and disciplined as a kid. Like, so I remember my friends telling me they would come and ask me to come out and play, and I'd be like, no, I don't want to play. I don't want to come out and play because I'd be playing my piano. I have a friend who told me, yeah, we always want you to come outside and play. And you'd be up there playing the piano.
Playing your piano.
So I wasn't like really forced to do it, And then I graduated high school when I was really young. I left home when I was 15 to go study music in Boston. And I had two incredible teachers, one jazz teacher who's very well known named Charlie Banakis, and another named Madam Shaloff, who taught a lot of different people. And I also had some, I studied at Settlement Music School in Philadelphia.
So you originally
my first
here.
You are from here. I am. Originally. I'm from West Philly, Pelton
West
Village.
Philly.
Okay. That's right. Okay. Yeah. And so, music is one of those paths where I think if you're really serious and you really want to do it, and I was writing and composing from a pretty young age. That was my initial thrust into the music. It kind of takes on a life of its own in terms of what happens. And so my trajectory as far as where I've lived, because I lived in Boston, and then I went to Detroit, and then I came back to Philly. I went to music school here at the University of the Arts. And after that, I was here for a while. Then I went to New York, then I was upstate New York.
Now, were you playing and performing in all those different cities when you moved?
Yeah. I lived in New York for a long time, for about 14 years, something like that.
Okay. And how did your music career go out there?
In New York City? It was up and down. New York is one of those places. It's just incredible because you meet the most amazing people, and then between your colleagues and then between the people you look up to, there's a very strong community, and so I met a lot of great musicians, and I was able to play and record with a lot of great musicians. I had my first recording under my own name happen.
Okay.
Actually, that happened before I left Philly. It was an album called With an Open Heart, because I had a backer here named Guy Zansinger who wanted to help my career, and he was like the producer of that CD, and that one kind of put me on the map. I got, reviewed nationally, and one thing led to the next, and then I had a recording contract after that, and, but in the life of music, it's not one straight line.
No,
you know?
it's a journey that you go
exactly.
through. You go through
Still
that
in
journey.
it, every one breath at a time.
And you're
as they
still
say.
performing, and you're still composing. And that's what we want Facebook family and friends to know, that there's many artists out there who started young, and they're still traveling through their music journey. And they're still learning, and they're still performing. And now I heard that you're going to be at the Clef Club. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that true?
Uh-huh.
When is that?
What is the,
when
is
that?
it? September 15th?
September
That's
15th.
next. So that's not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. I'm there with my trio.
Oh, you have a trio?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit
Richard
about
Hill
it.
on bass.
Okay.
And Craig MacGyver on drums.
Okay.
And they're Philadelphia original. They've, born and raised here, and an incredible talent.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of, having traveled away from Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of energy and originality and a lot of diversity, and
Mm-hmm.
Philly has so much in terms of music.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Philly.
Not just jazz. I mean, all kinds
Mm-hmm.
of music. We had Philly International. We had all kinds of music here. But I would say that there's something very special, especially having been away for like 40 years and now coming back. And it's not like I left completely, cut my ties. I would come back. But there is an energy here, and it's very special, in particular to Philadelphia. And most cities have their own kind of energy, but Philly definitely has something that's quite, historically significant. And it's still very vital, and I'm very happy to see that, because I teach too. I teach at.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've been working at the Kimmel Center, a program that run and developed by Anthony Tidd, bassist who plays with Steve Coleman, and also composer. But he put this program together called the Creative Music Program, and they get kids from all over the city to come there to learn how to play jazz. And improvise. It's not just jazz, but all kinds of things. And he has his own studio, and he does all kinds of things himself in terms of covering a lot of strata with hip hop and different types of styles, but a lot of improvisatory, contemporary music as well. And so and I just started back. Well, I won't say back, but I'm an alma mater. My alma mater. I'm an alumni of the Philadelphia College of Performing Arts, which is now called UArts, University of the Arts. But when I went there, I graduated. My graduating class had Robin Eubanks, who's this wonderful world-class trombonist, and Willie Williams, who plays tenor saxophone, and just. And right now there's such an incredible, I see a lot of the younger musicians that are coming out of Philadelphia who are playing, and a lot of them have come up in the Clef Club as well as the Kimmel Centers. And Philly has a lot of, I would say, ways and means of mentoring young musicians. And I get to see that, and be a part of that, because, some of them, they start, and before you know it, they're like, Philadelphia has right now quite a few. Emmanuel Wilkins, Yesay, Farhal, Yesay, don't get mad at me, but it's hard to remember how to say your whole name, but there's some amazing talent, coming out here. Joseph Block, he's a young pianist composer who just got accepted to Juilliard, and Columbia, is it Columbia? And there's a whole new sort of generation that's springing forth, and even younger. There's a young drummer here who's the son of a bass player named Mike Boone, Mackay Boone, who's just a prodigy, a jazz prodigy. I mean, he's extremely, advanced for his age.
That's really great, because there's so many young kids or young children, and to me, music answers a lot of things. It makes them laugh, sing. It gives them activities to do. They can write songs. There's so many. I love to see them playing the piano. I love to see them learning to read. I love to see them performing. And you're an inspiration.
Thank you.
To all of these, the children. And I wanted them to be able to be here tonight, but because it was so late, You know, they
too bad. Well,
but I said, well, you can watch her video and we can talk about it, and we can see how we can get you connected in some of the things that she does.
That's great. Well, that's one of my joys. I love working with young people and kids, and all ages, actually.
Yeah.
I teach all ages,
yes.
But it's really important to share, and at my time of life, not that I'm ancient or anything, but I am an elder at this point. You know, it's something it's kind of hard to admit, elder.
Go ahead and say it. Say it.
I mean, it's actually, I mean, our society has such a thing about age, but I mean, I would say, like in African societies, you know, you're revered for all your gray hair. You're revered for all the wrinkles that you have, all the ways in which age shows up on you, including your knowledge, experience, and all of that stuff. So
it's tough in America. It's tough.
It is. I mean, because so much of what we see is so, you know, polished and whatever. But anyway, I think most people who are in the arts, creative people, understand that it is important. It's vital. It's partially what helps us stay, you know, human and alive, and remind us of all the best things. What it is about being human, you know, and I think as far as being a musician, I find that it's really kind of like, I don't want to say responsibility, but that there's something about it. What do I want to say? I want to say that there's a lot of freedom in being able to express yourself like that. So you go into a zone that where you can create, and there's freedom, and that freedom is very important, you know, in terms of just what it is to be a creative person.
Well, you know, like lots of times, you know, I have a lot of stuff to say. You know, it's just a lot of stuff inside of me I want to say. And the way that I can express myself is through song. So Gilbert and I sit down and we will begin to tackle a song, you know, and the lyrics will come, the melody will come, and then the way I'm feeling, you know, is expressed through song. And I find it very rewarding to me. So lots of times I'll be saying to myself, I'm having a bad day, or this has happened. I need to write a song.
Absolutely.
You know, it's creativity.
That's right.
You know,
get it out.
Yeah.
And everybody else can holler along with you or sing along with you, right? I mean, song, the voice is so important. That is what, I mean, that's what all we had when we came over here. You know, when Africans were brought here, you know, as slaves on those ships, all they had was their voices. Yeah. And the voice is like that, their first instrument. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that.
And that is a really important part. I mean, even though I don't sing,
drums, I love the drums,
of course, drums,
bass, heartbeat, all of it,
absolutely. Yeah, but the even though I don't sing, I try to sing through the piano. Yeah.
You sing very well through that piano.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Let's take a moment and let's say hi to our Facebook family.
Oh,
you can start over here.
Okay, you see your friends on there?
I don't know who's here.
Okay.
Teresa Williams, Penny, that's my sister-in-law.
Okay.
Joan, hi. That's in the Seattle. Oh, what do you know? Isn't that something that's the thing about Facebook that's such a trip. So I have this love-hate relationship with Facebook, but there are real people out there.
Yes.
Hi, y'all. I'm supposed to stare at the camera.
You can scroll up and down to see. You got plenty more up there.
Oh, really? Okay. What do I do? How do I do this?
Lisa Roger, you have Charles.
Donald Harrison. Hey, Donald. Oh, my goodness.
Penny.
Goodness. Hi, everyone. Skip Bernie.
Oh, wow.
Luther. Hey, Luther. Del Del. Oh, my goodness. Dana. Dana. Hey. This is all new to me, guys. I have no idea what I'm doing, and Facebook is one of these things that says, you know, I should try doing a Facebook Live, but I have never.
Well, you're doing it now, right?
That's right.
Okay, and I want to say hi to Tommy, Levon, Donnie. Hi, Donnie, Tommy, and Andrea. Hi, Andrea. Sandy Wilkes and Sina, Sharon, Sharon Thompson. Oh, that's my cousin. Hi, Sharon. Gary.
Hey, is Andrea ready to teach someone?
Let me see, where am I? Gary Moore, Jessica. Hi, Jess. James Jackson, Valerie Daniels. Hi, Marcy. Sandy, my sister. Henry, David, Sean Miller. Hi, Sean. Sammy, Lovey.
Hey, Carol.
Jose,
oh gosh.
Stephen, Roberta, David.
Carol is Nazir. Her two of her sons are drummers and they're world class. Just incredible.
Okay.
Yeah, Justin Faulkner and Nazir Ebo. And Nazir came out of the Kimmel Center and the Clef Club. Those guys are just, it's Philly. It's just, you know, where it's at.
That's right.
Well, you know, like with the Clef Club, let's talk about that for a moment.
Okay.
Now they teach down there, right?
Absolutely.
They teach and they put on magnificent performances.
That's right.
And it's all genres of music because I've been there and I can see a rock band, I can see a blues band, I can see R&B, jazz. Our friend Alfie is always there. So they put on all different types of music. And if you have never been to the Clef Club, I recommend that you go and check them out near 13th and Fitzwater. Is that where it is?
Yeah, come out on Saturday the 15th.
Oh, yeah, how can I forget? Saturday 15th, Sumi is there. Okay, so, and what time does that show start?
I think it starts at 7:30.
At 7:30?
We're also showing a film. It's actually part of a series that the Clef Club is presenting called Cultural Voices.
Okay.
And I'm the first concert to open it up. They're also presenting Jamaluddin Jamaluddin Takum. They're also producing Bobby Zankel.
Okay.
And also they have a big band that they're also going to be premiering, or not premiering, but as part of the series. And I think the idea is to talk about how culture informs music and how music informs culture. So I'll be kind of like, I've been looking to my own repertoire, my personal repertoire, to look to see where that's been true in my music, to go maybe play things that are specifically been influenced like by African music or music from other cultures.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
even the culture of Philadelphia.
That's gonna
absolutely.
Be great.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be great. And now they also have a good food bar, no? Usually they have food.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. They have food. They have drinks. I mean, it's supposed. It's a pretty nice. Actually, it's really my first time playing at the Clef Club, headlining my own. But it's run by Carla Washington Lovett Hines, who's a renowned mentor to many young musicians here in Philadelphia, and it's like an institution unto itself, really, in a lot of ways. Yeah,
it's a nice setting, and you can eat while you're listening to like really great music, you know, and you meet all kinds of people there, musicians, and you pass your cards out and you network. And I was sitting there one evening, and it was someone on stage, and they needed a horn section. And I don't know why they needed it, but they needed it. And I was sitting there, and on the side of me was like 3 or 4 guys with horns. And they came and got, hey, man, you want to come? They got up on the stage, and they jammed, you know, and they, you know, as if they were there too. And sometimes they get those jobs like that when they're out there sitting in the audience.
Oh, yeah.
That's really great.
Well, the thing about the Clef Club and institutions like that, I mean, it's all about community.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about people, and they have a long-standing relationship with people, parents, kids, musicians, young and old, and it's been nurtured over the years. You know, there are many places like that in Philadelphia. I mean, the Clef Club's special for what it is. It's unique in terms of what it is. But you know, the fact that we have Settlement Music School, which has branches all over the city, and places like, you know, the Kimmel Center, which has the creative music program, and all of these places they all kind of funnel into creating, you know, as especially now that music isn't happening as much as it used to be in the schools. Do you know what I mean? Like now it's even more. It's even more important, I think, that, you know, these institutions survive and thrive.
Right.
And I don't think it's easy, you know, to stay up with your walls and your doors, you know, being able to open and close. Because I think over the years, people struggle in terms of just being able to find the funds and the means to sustain, you know.
It's hard. It's hard.
Would you say that technology helped or hurt, let's say, jazz in particular?
Well, I find that to be a really interesting question, because I think it has its upside and its downside. I mean, what's really interesting to me is how so much has shifted in my own lifetime. You know, because I mean, my first record was on it. I was just talking about this.
Here we go.
My first record was an LP.
Okay, a real LP.
Vinyl. You know, it was on vinyl, and it was right around that time we were going to do a second pressing, because we sold out the first pressing, and it was right around the time CDs were coming in, and we had to make the decision: are we going to go CD or are we going to go vinyl? We decided to go vinyl, which was a mistake, because all of a sudden it was CD. It made that transition into CDs, and so now what's happening is that CDs are now on their way out, and what's going on is that it's all becoming very virtual. So people's experience with music doesn't have to do with something they actually have to. Well, I was just talking to a musician, James Stewart, today, that I'm playing with in Bobby's band. And we were talking about Third Street Music, which was this record store that used to be down at Third Street Market. And I mean, I hung out there as a little girl. I remember going through all the, you know, bins, and it was run by Jerry Gordon, and he, you know, he had all, you know, you'd go in there and ask him, well, what's the latest? And you'd like, and there was this real tactile sense of like relating the music to this beautiful thing that you could actually take out, and like, you know, that whole act and the whole thing of it was just so different. And I'm not saying that it's not as good now, but it's just that there's so many choices and ways in which people actually experience music, and the kids, they're all over the place with it. And they're comfortable. They're comfortable going to all the different modalities.
Show them what an album looks like. Kids.
Oh yeah, this is me a long time ago.
This is an album.
Sade. Yes, kids, this is an album. Well, I think. Don't you think most people still know what vinyl is? I mean, an album.
Well, I think
the young ones actually don't.
Yeah, you're right.
Our crew knows what it is.
Yeah,
but,
I know. It dates us.
We had the 78s and.
But I mean, the thing is that the technology is also giving us stuff like Facebook. Not that I'm in love with Facebook, but that Facebook is actually a real tool, and I think we have these tools now that are amazing, and they make it fast. They make the world so much smaller. My son lives in Thailand. Hi, Kai, if you're out there, and we can talk on Facebook chat live, and it, you know, it doesn't cost anything. You know, these kinds of things make the world where you can actually get out and touch somebody for real, like right away. And so those things, I think, actually. It's a matter of like how you utilize the technology and how you know, I think most of us know that in some small ways we're probably addicted to our phones in some kinds of
we are.
Like most people have kind of like
most
they always have
their
phone. And so like how is that affecting us as a culture and as, you know, human beings, and in terms of like we don't really quite know yet, except that a lot of time you're like people are tuned into that, they're not tuned into like now, you know what I mean? So but you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to wake up in the morning and first thing you do look at your phone, and you don't have to go to sleep and last thing you do look at it. You know what I'm saying? You can say, well, this is all fine and good, but like, you know what I mean?
You can actually turn it off.
Well, there's a concept, right? So yeah, that's a tricky question. But I think actually, you know, so my thing is, because I'm trying to figure out now how to use social media in a proactive way, because I have such a love-hate relationship with it. It's like, you know, sometimes just the consistency of like using Facebook, if you go away for a week or two and come back, and then it's like, oh, you know, all the numbers drop or whatever it is, you know, or people are just, oh, she's whatever. It's that whole habit and the consistency and the ways in which you want to do it. So I'd like to be able to be proactive and positive and actually construct a modality of dealing with it where it's not taking tons of my time.
I know, it takes a lot of your time.
And like,
Sumi.
exactly. And where I can say, okay, boom, I can press this button, it goes out and everything. I don't have to worry about doing it here and there and there. It just drives me nuts. And I think I have a little ADHD anyway, so it's totally not like the best thing for me, you know?
But it's good because it reaches all over now. And what you played today, you know, that's all over. You know, that's kind of better than the concert.
Oh, well, that was called Mingus Mood.
But I mean, it's all out there.
Oh, well,
People,
okay.
You know.
But getting a little bit back to that question I was asking, if technology help or hurt, she can play. She can sit down and out of her mind to her fingers to our ears, beauty is created.
Right.
You have somebody like, I don't know, like me, who can't play the piano, but I can sit down with a sequencer and bang out these individual notes, play it back at full speed, and it sounds like I did something wonderful.
Or you can use a loop.
And I don't know a thing. I don't know a thing about music and all, right? But that takes away from, to me, it takes away from the real talent.
Well, I don't know about taking away. I mean, it is the world in which we live.
Yeah. The way to create the music and all.
No, I understand what you're saying, because I think what happens is a lot of people, because of those kinds of things, may not go further in terms of like really starting from the ground up, you know. But I think most people know that if you really want to seriously deal with the music, you got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're doing. Yeah.
Now, what's next? I mean, you're at the Clef Club on the 15th. So what performances do you have coming up after the Clef Club?
I'm going to be actually in New York. I have a band together now. It's a composers collective called Alchemy Sound Project.
Oh, this is the one that you did the CD with.
Yeah, it's a band I put together of composers, and we all write for each other to play and perform our own music. We met at a special, I would say, what do you want to call it? It was called the Jazz Composers Orchestra Intensive, and it was at Columbia University along with Doris Duke and all that. They put together this special program to get the most, I would say, current jazz composers. It was actually, you had to apply for it to kind of get in. It was kind of like a competition in some ways to get in the program, but there are many diverse people there. And I met these wonderful composers, and we were being exposed to the world of orchestral music, and it was to provide the opportunity for us to be able to write and maybe possibly have our works performed by major orchestras. And you had to submit your piece and submit, you know, it was kind of also done kind of like a competition. Anyway, my piece was submitted, and I got in, and my piece was performed by the American Composers Orchestra about 5 years ago. And that piece opened up some doors for me to do more work, you know, in terms of writing orchestral symphonic music. And I met this wonderful community of people, and so I thought, wow, well, why don't we do this for ourselves? Like, you know, all of us who were composer musicians. And so I put together this band, and we're getting some, you know, some
making some noise,
making a little noise.
Yeah, sounds good.
Our first record actually got like in Downbeat magazine was listed as one of the best albums of 2016. We have a current record out now called Adventures in Time and Space. There's 3 women in the band. There's Samantha Boschnick, who plays trumpet, and Erica Lindsay, who plays tenor saxophone, myself, David Arend, who's the producer of all of our CDs. He plays bass, and Salim Washington is our sort of orchestral man, because he provides all the orchestral colors, because he's got tenor sax, alto, he plays bass clarinet, flute, alto flute. So we have all those colors in the group.
That's great.
Yeah. Now, so we're getting ready to do a tour. We got our composer, be doing, one of our composers just got a CMA grant Chamber Music America grant for new jazz works, and we have to present all the new music before the end of the year. So we're going to do a concert at the UArts, University of the Arts. We're also going to do a concert in New York City at the Greenwich House, and possibly a concert at Bard University. So so that's coming up in December. I have to prepare for that.
Oh,
and I'm also working with Bobby Zankel, who's an incredible tenor, alto saxophonist and composer. He's also playing at the Clef Club. I'm not sure when that's.
Is he playing with you?
No, he's not playing with me. I'll be playing in his band.
Okay.
And he's well known in Philadelphia.
Okay.
He's been here for a long time,
Okay.
and he's got his own big band. He also has his own smaller groups, and he's an amazing saxophonist. And I just came back from a rehearsal playing with him today. He lives right here, not far. He lives on Cedar. And 50th, yeah, right.
They're all here. They're all
West,
around.
West Philly in the house.
Yeah.
Now all of the kids and adults too, because they like music too, and they want to get into music. And
let's see who this is. Tina Marie, can't wait to see you play. I'll be in Philly and New York the week of Thanksgiving. Hope I can catch you while I'm in town. Oh, when are you coming to Atlanta? Atlanta? Oh, wow. All right. The week of Thanksgiving. I'm not sure what I'm doing that week.
Yeah, we have to keep
her
posted. What inspiring words do you have, Sumi, to give all of these kids and adults, because they want to play too? You know, like I always get adults that want to play. What inspiring words do you have for them tonight?
Well, what I tell my students, the students that come into my path that I happen to spend time with and teach. I mean, I say it's a lifestyle. It's not just a casual thing where you say, oh, I want to learn and kind of like, I mean, if you want to really play well, you have to be able to find a way to work it in and have it be a part of your life. Yeah. And so that means you have to take the time out to actually deal with what it actually takes to become good. And I feel like I was very blessed, because when I was young, I had a lot of really great teachers. But one of my teachers said to me, and I was young, I was like maybe 12 or 13. He looked at me. His name was Bernard Piefer. He's a famous jazz pianist, French originally, played. He was just one of these pianists who was his own thing, and extremely influential for a lot of people. Keith Jarrett had wanted to study with him at one point. But anyway, he said to me, you must understand, you are competing with the very best. And I was looking behind me like, who's he talking to? Is he talking to me? Do you know what I mean? Like, so in other words, like, if you really want to do this, you need to know who the people are that are actually really doing this. Yeah. And that's how you have to aim for that. Aim high. So, I mean, I think most people understand that in order to become a great musician, you have to figure out a way to make it a part of your life. And we all do this because we love to do it. Yeah. And especially when it comes to jazz. I mean, jazz is not exactly the most supported music in our country. Not exactly. You know, it's not easy to sustain a career and to keep at it and to keep growing. People do it. It's not easy, but no one does it because of fame or fortune. I don't think so. Like, there's a lot of other things you could do.
Well, it's the love. It's the love of the music.
Absolutely. I mean, because and that's what fuels you, and that's what feeds you. And then when you're really inside the music like that, you know, that's the thing that moves you forward. You know, because it's a spiritual relationship. At least it should be. You know, that's I feel that there's a spirituality in terms of what it is to express yourself, to actually make music. I'm sorry.
You know, I find it very it's hard. It's hard with almost anything. But if you love it, you can't stop. You just keep on and on and on. And if one phase of music, if it doesn't work for you, you have these transferable skills. As long as I stay in music, I'm fine. You know, I just keep on and keep on and on. it's the love of music. It's the passion of music that keeps you going. And I always tell the kids and adults, you gotta love it. You know, you can't love it sometimes and don't love it all the time. You gotta love it, period.
I mean, I have, I think I'm willing to teach just about anybody, but one of the, I don't
you
like
hear
to
that,
teach.
Gilbert?
Well, no.
Okay,
I
hear that?
I said just
okay.
about.
Just about.
But one of my prerequisites is that they understand that if they're going to do it, they have to put in the time. Because it doesn't happen magically, you know.
Nothing does.
And and so I don't like to take kids who are being forced to play, like by their parents, or I won't do it. If it's I don't mind teaching a child, but if it's a child, they have to be there because they actually really want to do it. You can't make somebody really want to do it.
Right. The other part to that is the ones that they want to play, but for some reason they cannot get to the lessons.
They don't practice.
Lesson today, and you don't see them for 2 weeks.
Well, then they don't really want to.
Well, you know, there's all kinds of things.
It's not always on them.
Well, no, it's not, because it's finances. You know, then, you know, maybe the parents can't afford to pay for lessons every week. You know, it's a lot of stuff going on, you know. But that's no good, because when they start. Well, because when they come back 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, they've forgotten everything that they learned 3 weeks ago, and you got to start from the beginning again. So you never get anywhere, and then the kids, somewhere along their journey, they get tired because they're always starting back and back until they drop out.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because there is the, you know, you do need foundation, you need support, you need consistency, and a lot of time we're dealing with kids who don't have, you know, they have broken families, they have single parent homes where they're struggling. I mean, there's all kinds of issues that can go on that make it, it can make it difficult.
Right.
But that's why we need, you know, music in the schools. We need it to be more supported and more people, you know, actually wanting to work with them. Yeah,
and we try, Gilbert and I try to keep our little community saturated with music, as far as the piano and the bass and the guitar and
you want to record, come see me.
Recording, and we do a pretty good job.
That's great.
Within the community. You know, keeping the kids.
I think that's I think actually that's really important, you know, that everybody has to do their part, you know, especially if they want, you know, to help our culture and society, that people can do what they can, even within your own structure. And like, look at this, you have this radio station that you set up, and it's here in your home, and this, you know, and that's a pretty bold step, but you know, you're doing it, you're building your audience, you have your Doris halls, you know,
yes, that's a transferable skill.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I went, like, I used to perform, okay, so now, you know, I'm too old to perform now, so what can I do? I still want to stay in music. I write songs, I do that. So this is like one of the transferable skills that I have. As long as I can stay in music some kind of way, Doris Hall James is happy, okay? Now, I don't know what I'll do years from now. Maybe I'll just put on that CD or something, just so all I can do is listen.
Doris who?
I won't even know who I am, right? But in the meantime, you know, I want to be able to contribute, and I want to help those struggling artists that are still working, and I want to make sure that everybody know they're still working. Because some of them, they work on the weekend, and they work during the day at another job because they have to eat. But their love of music is so great that they take little gigs on the weekend, you know, to keep themselves going. They have studios all in their basement. I mean, they're still trying. You know, they won't stop.
So what I call tier 2.
So music is love. Yeah.
Right? You got the everybody knows the tier 1s, all of the big names, the ones that have made it. But every single one of those ones that made it, when they come to Philadelphia or they are from Philadelphia and they're doing a show, who's playing with them? The tier 2, the one that just didn't quite make it over that hump, right? We've got all the talent in the world. Right? Why? I don't know, but I know that there's thousands of them, and we want all of them to come right here, present themselves, and let's see what we can make it happen.
Let's see what we can do, you know? And I think our hearts are good, and we're trying real hard, and I think we can do a lot, right?
Well, it sounds like you're already doing that.
Yeah, we're trying. I want to say hi to Bill Jolly.
Oh, wow. Hey, Bill.
And I want to say hi to T Life, who joined in. And
what's that Jessica asking?
Jessica says, Johnny Mathis worked around his teacher's home doing chores for his lessons. Where there is a will, there's a way.
Absolutely, for sure.
Absolutely. And then, hi, Anthony and Chuck and Pete, Emmanuel. Walter Prescott said, I think I met you years ago with my brother-in-law, Will Leftman. Letman. Okay. And Ernie Fields. And hi, Kelly. Isn't this great? Okay. So I want to thank all of you for all these great comments. Do you want to say anything on your page? Because Gilbert has given us that 5-minute thing. Which tells us
so what do I do now to make this?
You want to say?
Oh, wait a second here. Is it this? Dennis Yeri. Hey, Dennis. Kenyatta Thompson. Brenda Clark. Hi, Brenda. Ellen Harris. Oh, my goodness.
William
David
Brooks.
Graves. Hey, David. Carla Goldstein. Jose. How do I do this? What I just say? Hi, everybody.
Hi. Thank you.
Oh, my
There's so many. It was great.
Wow. It's not something.
That's Zumi. I'm going to ask you to take us out.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
your choice.
Okay, so I'm going to play something because I was talking about how culture informs my work. And I traveled in Africa with the band called A Note of Hope. And
A Note of Hope?
Yes, we were there with Rosella Clemens Washington, Gerald Beasley's wonderful bass player, Rosella's incredible vocalist, who now is no longer with us on this planet, but she's still here. Harry Sweets Edison, Butch Reed, Harry Sweets Edison. Where'd that come from? I'm sorry, Butch. Anyway, and myself, and we were all. Is that everybody? John Blake was with us. Blake. Yes, and we unfortunately lost both Rosella and John soon after that tour. But while we were over there, I was able to travel to Ethiopia, Uganda. We went with Rosella's pastor, Doug Hayes, who took us over there, and they were doing a lot of work to raise money for kids who've been orphaned by AIDS. Anyway, so we got to play with musicians from every culture, every country. Went to Ghana. We and it was incredible. And this particular rhythm though was taught to me by a Ghanaian drummer.
Wants to say something.
One more thing before you do it. Where are you gonna be? How they can reach you?
She already said
I'm going to be at the Clef Club for the Cultural Voices series. I think PNC Bank is sponsoring it, so they probably want me to say that.
September
I'm going to be here with my trio. We're going to play this. As a matter of fact, I was working with my drummer. So the way you learn rhythms phonetically. This is what was taught to me by Joachim Larty, who's a master drummer from Ghana. And a friend, and my kids and I and we used to play in a drum circle, and he taught me this rhythm, and it goes taki taki gamara, taki taki gamara. I think it's North African, taki taki gamara, taki taki gamara, taki taki. So I made up this song based off that rhythm. I'll play that.
Yes, 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 yes. It's great, great. Now, how can they reach you? If they want to reach you, how can they reach you?
What do you mean?
Well, if someone want to book you for a gig or something like that, or they want to,
my
teach.
website or my Facebook page. I am going to get ready to start my private practice, so if anybody's interested in taking lessons, I'm here.
All right,
Having moved back after 40 years.
Yes, welcome back to Philadelphia.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Facebook family and friends, we hope you enjoyed the indie show today, and we'll see you next week. This show is produced by Philly Live Radio, and we're out.
Thank you.
Thank
Doris.
you. Thank you. Great show. Great.
We are
Out.
Okay. My goodness.
It was good. It was
Wait,
really good.